Zoe awoke to the smell of something burning. She bolted upright, rushing to the kitchen to find Zalara standing by the stove, puzzled as smoke rose from a pan. "I attempted to prepare sustenance," she explained. "I observed you making the flat bread with egg yesterday. I thought I understood the process." Zoe quickly turned off the burner and moved the scorched pan to the sink. "Maybe I should handle the cooking for now," she said with a smile. "We can work on teaching you later." Over a breakfast of cereal, which Zalara found fascinating, they discussed their situation. The alien woman needed to contact her people but had no means to do so. Her communication device had been taken when she was captured. "My ship had emergency beacons," Zalara explained, "but they would have been damaged in the crash or confiscated by your government agents. I need access to technology I could modify to send a signal strong enough to reach orbit." Zoe frowned, thinking, what kind of technology? Something with transmission capabilities. Zalara said, "A radio telescope would be ideal, but even a powerful radio or satellite dish might work if modified properly. I don't know how to get access to anything like that," Zoe admitted. "I'm a graphic designer, not a scientist." She tapped, her fingers on the table thoughtfully. "Wait, I have a friend, Lily. She works at the community college in the astronomy department. They have an observatory. Maybe she could help." Zalara's hair brightened at the suggestion. "That might work, but it would put your friend at risk. The men who held me captive. They will not hesitate to take anyone who assists me." Zoe considered this. Lily was her oldest friend. They had grown up together, shared secrets, helped each other through breakups and job losses. Would she risk her safety for this? Would she even believe Zoe about Zalara? "I could show her," Zalara said softly, seeming to read Zoe's doubts. "If she sees me, she will understand." Zoe nodded slowly, reaching for her phone. "I'll text her. Ask if she can come over tonight," not telling her why, just that it's important. While waiting for Lily's response, Zoe helped Zalara learn more about human customs. The alien was a quick study, watching Zoe operate the television, computer, and kitchen appliances with intense curiosity. Zalara explained that Lumerians were naturally telepathic with their own kind, but had to rely on technology to communicate with other species. "Can you read my mind?" Zoe asked, somewhat nervous about the answer. "Not exactly," Zalara explained. "I can sense strong emotions, general impressions, but specific thoughts are closed to me unless you deliberately project them, or we establish a deeper connection." Zoe found this somewhat reassuring. By afternoon, Lily had responded, agreeing to come over after her evening class around 8. Zoe spent the rest of the day helping Zalara prepare for the meeting, coaching her on how much to reveal and how to explain her situation without overwhelming Lily. "Your friend may be frightened," Zalara noted. "She may react badly to my appearance." "Lily is pretty open-minded," Zoe assured her. "But yes, it will be a shock. I'll prepare her before she sees you." As evening approached, Zoe grew increasingly nervous, pacing the living room, checking the blinds every few minutes. What if Lily panicked? What if she couldn't help? What if she reported them? At precisely 8 o'clock, the doorbell rang. Zoe jumped, her heart racing. She looked at Zalara, who had hidden in the kitchen. "Stay here until I call." "You?" she whispered. Lily stood on the porch holding a bottle of wine and looking concerned. "You said it was urgent," she said, as Zoe let her in. "Are you okay? You've been ghosting everyone for days." "I'm fine," Zoe assured her. "But something has happened. Something incredible. I need you to keep an open mind and promise not to freak out." Lily raised an eyebrow, setting down the wine. "That sounds ominous. What's going on?" Zoe took a deep breath. "You know how you're always talking about the possibility of extraterrestrial life. How you said you'd give anything to make first contact." "Yes," Lily said slowly. "Well," Zoe said, "what would you say if I told you it's happened? That first contact is standing in my kitchen right now." Lily stared at her. For a long moment, silence hung between them. "If this is a joke, it's not funny," Lily finally said. "It's not a joke," Zoe promised. "I met her 3 days ago. She crashed here." She's been running from government agents who were experimenting on her. She needs our help. Lily's expression shifted, from skepticism to concern. Are you feeling okay, Zoe? Maybe we should call someone. Zoe sighed. Zalara, she called. You can come out now. The kitchen door slowly opened and Zalara stepped into the living room. Her blue skin seemed to shimmer in the lamplight, her silver hair floating gently around her face. Her opalescent eyes fixed on Lily, watching for her reaction. Lily gasped, stumbling backward until she hit the wall. Her mouth opened and closed several times, but no sound came out. Hello. Lily, Zalara, said her voice musical. I am Zalara of Lumira. I apologize for frightening you. Holy shit, Lily whispered. Her eyes darted to Zoe. Is this real? Tell me this is real. It's real. Zoe confirmed, and she needs our help for several minutes. Lily could only stare, peppering them with questions that tumbled out one after another. Where did she come from? How did they meet? What did she eat? Could she breathe our air? Was her hair really floating? Or was it some kind of illusion? Gradually, as the initial shock wore off, Lily's scientific curiosity took over. She approached Zalara cautiously, asking to examine her hands, her eyes, the markings on her skin. Zalara submitted to the examination, patiently allowing Lily to satisfy her curiosity. This is unbelievable, Lily whispered as she gently touched Zalara's luminescent hair. You're actually an alien, a real extraterrestrial being. I am, Zalara confirmed. Though on my world it is you who would be the alien. Lily laughed at this, her tension breaking. This is the greatest discovery in human history, she exclaimed. And she's in your living room, Zoe. You've been hiding an alien in your house? Zoe nodded. But she can't stay hidden forever. There are people looking for her, government agents. We need to help her contact her people so they can rescue her. That's why I called you. Lily's excitement dimmed somewhat. You mentioned experimentation, she said, looking at Zalara. You were captured. Zalara nodded, lifting her shirt slightly to show the surgical scars across her abdomen. They wished to understand my biology, she explained. They took samples, performed tests. Some were painful. She lowered her shirt. I escaped during a power failure. Lily's expression hardened. That's horrible, she said. I'm so sorry. That's not how first contact should happen. We need access to your observatory. Zoe explained. Zalara thinks she can modify the equipment to send a signal to her people. Lily bit her lip. Thinking it's not my observatory exactly. She said, I'm just a teaching assistant, but I do have keys access codes. The main astronomer only comes in on clear nights for specific observations. Would tomorrow night work? Zalara asked. The lunar cycle will be favorable for the type of transmission I need to send. Lily nodded slowly. I can get you in after hours around 10 when everyone's gone, but we'll have to be careful. The campus has security cameras. Thank you, Lily. Zalara said, her hair glowing brighter with gratitude. You are risking much to help me. Lily smiled, reaching out to touch Zalara's arm. Are you kidding? I've dreamed of meeting someone like you my whole life. I've spent countless nights staring at the stars, wondering if anyone was looking back. And here you are. The three women spent the rest of the evening planning their visit to the observatory. Lily brought up campus maps on her phone, showing them the layout, security camera positions, and the best route to enter undetected. Zalara explained what components she would need to modify and how long it would take to send her signal. Zoe watched them work together, feeling a strange mix of emotions. Relief that Lily had not only believed them, but agreed to help, pride at being part of something so momentous. And underneath it all, a growing sadness at the thought that soon Zalara would leave. She had known the alien woman only a few days yet. Already the thought of saying goodbye felt painful. As midnight approached, Lily prepared to leave. She hugged Zoe tightly, whispering, This is insane. You know that, right? We could get arrested or worse. I know, Zoe whispered back. But we have to help her. It's the right thing to do. Lily nodded, pulling away. Tomorrow night. Then she said, Be ready at 9. I'll pick you both up. After Lily left, Zoe found Zalara standing by, the window gazing up at the night sky. Her profile illuminated by moonlight looked almost ethereally beautiful. "Your friend is kind," Zalara said without turning. "Brave too." "She is," Zoe agreed, approaching to stand beside her. "What are you looking at?" "Home," Zalara replied, pointing to a faint cluster of stars barely visible through the light pollution. "You cannot see my suns from here, but my system lies in that direction." "Do you miss it?" Zoe asked. Zalara turned to look at her. "Yes, but my time here has not been without value. I have learned much about humans' things. Our distant observations could never reveal. Your capacity for both cruelty and kindness is remarkable. The men who held me captive showed me one face of humanity. You and Lily have shown me another. I will tell my people of both." Zoe smiled. "It's a pretty complex species we've got here. Good and bad all mixed up, like all sentient races." Zalara said, "We Lumerians have our flaws too. Though we outgrew physical violence centuries ago, we still struggle with pride, with fear of the unknown, with prejudice against other species." As they talked, Zoe noticed Zalara swaying slightly, her luminescence dimming. "You're tired," Zoe realized. "You should rest. Tomorrow will be challenging." Zalara nodded. "I will retire," she agreed. "But as last night I prefer to guard your door. It is our way." Morning came too quickly. Zoe awoke to find Zalara already up and alert, sitting cross-legged in the hallway. Her eyes focused on something distant. "Are you okay?" Zoe asked. Rubbing sleep from her eyes, Zalara blinked. Returning her attention to Zoe, "I was attempting to reach my people through meditation," she explained. "Sometimes across short distances, Lumerians can connect telepathically, but either they are too far away or something is blocking my attempts." Zoe offered a reassuring smile. "We'll try the observatory tonight. That should work." They spent the morning planning, while Zalara sketched designs for the modifications she would need to make to the observatory equipment. Zoe prepared a disguise for her blue skin and floating silver. Hair would attract too much attention. "I have some ideas," Zoe said, spreading items on the bed. "A hooded sweatshirt to cover your hair, sunglasses for your eyes, gloves for your hands, and makeup to tone down the blue tint on your face." Zalara examined the cosmetics curiously. "Your artificial skin coverings are primitive but effective," she noted. Zoe laughed as she demonstrated applying foundation to Zalara's blue cheek. "It's not exactly designed for alien complexions, but we'll make it work by midday." They had created a passable disguise. Zalara's skin still had a faint blue undertone, but in dim light it might pass for an unusual tan. Her silver hair was completely hidden under the hood, and with sunglasses covering her distinctive eyes, she could potentially walk past humans without causing immediate panic. "Let's test it," Zoe suggested. "We need supplies anyway. Food, water, things for tonight. I think we can risk a quick trip to the corner." Storg Zalara seemed both nervous and excited at the prospect of venturing into the human world. "I will follow your lead," she said. They waited until early afternoon, when the small convenience store down the block would be least crowded. Zoe gave Zalara final instructions as they walked. "Keep the hood up. Keep the glasses on. Don't speak unless absolutely necessary. If anyone asks, you're my cousin visiting from out of town. You have a skin condition that makes you sensitive to light. Hence the coverage." Zalara nodded, absorbing the information. Her gait was slightly unusual, a graceful gliding motion that Zoe hoped wouldn't attract attention. "Walk more like this." Zoe demonstrated a normal human stride with slight slouching. Less perfect, more casual. Zalara mimicked her, adding a slight shuffle to her steps. "Better?" she asked. "Much better," Zoe confirmed. The store was nearly empty when they entered. An elderly cashier barely glanced up from her magazine as they walked in. Zoe led Zalara through the aisles, quickly gathering energy bars, bottled water, and other supplies they might need for their mission that night. Zalara seemed fascinated by the colorful packaging, the variety of products. "So many options," she whispered, examining a shelf of different snack foods. "On Lumira, our sustenance is more standardized, nutritionally balanced, but lacking in variety. Grab whatever looks interesting," Zoe offered. "We can try them later." Zalara selected several brightly colored packages, adding them to Zoe's basket. As they approached the register, Zoe felt a moment of anxiety. Would the cashier notice anything unusual about her companion? The elderly woman barely looked at them as she scanned their items. Camping trip, she asked. Noting the supplies. Something like that, Zoe replied, handing over cash to avoid using a credit card that might be traced. As they turned to leave, the door opened and two men in dark suits entered. Zoe froze, recognizing the type of unmarked government vehicles they drove parked outside. The men glanced at Zoe and Zalara, their expressions neutral, but assessing. Keep walking, Zoe muttered under her breath. Act normal. They moved past the men and out the door. Zoe, resisting the urge to run, Zalara's hand had gone rigid in hers, her steps becoming stilted. Not yet, Zoe whispered. Wait until we turn the corner. They walked at a measured pace down the block. Every second felt like an eternity. Zoe could feel sweat beading on her forehead, her heart pounding. When they finally turned the corner onto her street, Zoe risked a glance back. The men had not followed, but she could see them through the store window talking to the cashier. Run, she hissed to Zalara. Now, they sprinted the last 100 yards to Zoe's house, fumbling with the keys in her panic. Once inside, Zoe locked the door and peered through. The blinds, do you think they recognized you? She asked. Zalara shook her head. They would have pursued us immediately if they had. But they are searching this area. They must have tracked me somehow. How? Zoe wondered. You don't have any devices on you, right? Zalara frowned, thinking. Then her expression changed to alarm. The containment suit, she said. Your disposal unit. Where did the trash go when you removed it? Zoe's stomach sank. The city dump, probably. But they collect it every Thursday. The suit had monitoring devices embedded in the fabric, Zalara explained. They might be using those to narrow their search. They cannot pinpoint me exactly, but they can determine a general area. Zoe checked her phone. Lily wouldn't arrive for hours yet. The thought men might return with reinforcements before then. We need to leave, Zoe decided. Now they know I'm involved. They saw me with you. We can't wait for Lily here. Zalara nodded in agreement. Where will we go? Zoe thought quickly. Lily's apartment. It's on the other side of town. We can take the bus, get there before she leaves for work. Call her to let her know the plan has changed. They packed quickly, Zoe grabbing a backpack and stuffing it with the supplies they'd just purchased, plus some extra clothes. She added her laptop charger and wallet. Zalara helped adjusting her disguise and making sure no blue skin or silver hair was visible. They left through the back door, cutting through neighboring yards until they reached a different street. Zoe kept them moving at a brisk walk but not running, which would attract attention. The bus stop was 3 blocks away. As they waited for the bus, Zoe called Lily, explaining in vague terms that they needed to change their plans. Are you okay? Lily asked, sounding worried. Not exactly, Zoe replied. We had a close call. We need to come to your place. Can you meet us there instead of picking us up? Of course, Lily agreed. I have one more class, then I'll head straight home. Text me when you arrive. The bus arrived mercifully, empty, except for a teenager with headphones and an elderly couple. Zoe led Zalara to seats at the back, keeping her head down. As they rode across town, Zoe kept checking out the windows, watching for black SUVs or men in suits. Her nerves were stretched to the breaking point beside her. Zalara sat unnaturally still, her alien nature somehow more apparent in her very stillness. No human could remain so perfectly motionless. Zoe reached over and squeezed her hand, trying to convey reassurance. After 30 tense minutes, they reached their stop. Lily's apartment building was a modern complex with security doors and underground parking. They would be safer there than at Zoe's exposed house. Lily buzzed them in immediately when they arrived. Her apartment was on the 5th floor, small but tidy, with astronomy posters covering the walls and a telescope by the window. What happened? She demanded as soon as they were inside. Zoe explained about the men at the store, the revelation about the tracking capabilities in the discarded containment suit. They're closing in, Zoe concluded. They know the general area I live in. It was just a matter of time before they found us. Lily paced her small living room. This complicates things. The original plan won't work now. They might be watching the observatory too if they're searching the whole city. But I must send the signal tonight. Solara insisted. The positioning of your planet and the nearest relay beacon will not align again for 14 of your days. By then, she left the sentence unfinished, but they all understood. The government agents would almost certainly find her before then. Lily stopped pacing, her expression thoughtful. I have an alternative, she said. We have a backup receiver on the roof of the science building. It's smaller than the observatory equipment, but it might work, and security is much lighter. There, will it be powerful enough? Zoe asked, looking at Solara. The alien woman considered. I would need to significantly modify it. But yes, with the right adjustments, it could work. Then that's our new plan. Lily decided I have access to the building for evening study sessions. My keycard will get us in. I'll gather the components you need from the lab. While Lily was in her final class, of the day Zoe and Solara remained in the apartment. Zoe kept the blinds closed but occasionally peeked out, watching for any signs they had been followed. So far, the street below seemed normal. Solara removed her disguise, letting her silver hair float freely again. She sat by the window looking up at the afternoon sky. Your friend is taking a great risk, Solara said softly. As are you. Zoe sat beside her. It's worth it, she replied. I couldn't live with myself if I turned you over to those men. What they were doing to you was wrong. Solara turned to look at her, the opalescent eyes shimmering with emotion. In my culture, when someone saves a life, they become family. Connected beyond blood, we call it soul binding. The one who is saved pledges a life debt to their savior. Is that why you sleep outside my door? Zoe asked. To protect me, Solara nodded. But it is more than that. It is also to honor you, to show that your life is valued above my comfort, above my own needs. You freed me. Zoe Miller, you gave me shelter. You are risking everything to help me reach my people in my culture. That makes you Cavaleth. Sister of the soul. Zoe felt a warmth spread through her at these words. Despite never having heard the term before, somehow its meaning resonated deeply within her. Cavaleth, she repeated the alien word, feeling its weight. I like that. Zoe Miller never expected to find an alien in her backyard. It happened on a quiet Tuesday evening while Zoe was taking out the trash. The strange violet glow from behind her tool shed caught her attention immediately. She approached cautiously, her heart racing with each step. What she discovered would change her life forever. Curled up against the wooden fence was a humanoid figure with iridescent blue skin and silvery hair that seemed to float as if underwater. The alien woman was dressed in what appeared to be some kind of containment suit, with broken restraints still attached to her wrists. She looked up at Zoe with eyes that shimmered like opals. Zoe froze. Their gazes locked. The alien woman made a soft, chirping sound followed by words in broken English. Help me, please. They come soon. Without thinking twice, Zoe helped the alien to her feet and guided her into the house. Just as they reached the back door, bright lights swept across the yard. A black unmarked van had pulled up at the end of the street. Men in dark uniforms poured out carrying strange devices that beeped and flashed. Zoe pulled the alien woman inside and closed all the blinds. For nearly an hour they remained silent as the men searched the neighborhood. Eventually the lights from the van disappeared, but Zoe knew they would return. I am Solara, the alien woman explained once they felt safe. My ship crashed 3 lunar cycles ago. They captured me, studied me. They hurt me. Anger flared inside Zoe. They had clearly been experimenting on this being, treating her like a lab specimen rather than a sentient creature. Zoe might not understand where Solara came from, but she recognized suffering when she saw it. They will not touch you again, Zoe promised. I will help you. The alien woman stared at Zoe with those luminous eyes that seemed to see straight through to her soul. A small smile curved her blue lips. Thank you, she whispered, her voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Zoe helped Solara clean up in the bathroom. The alien winced as she removed the torn remnants of the containment suit, revealing strange markings across her blue skin. Some looked like surgical scars, others like deliberate patterns of some kind. Zoe gave her a pair of sweatpants, and an oversized t-shirt to wear. Xelara touched the soft fabric with wonder. Your coverings are primitive but comfortable, she said. On my world, our garments adapt to our bodies and environment. They are alive in a way. Zoe raised her eyebrows. That sounds incredible and a little creepy, she admitted. Where exactly is your world? Xelara pointed upward toward the ceiling. But Zoe understood she meant the stars, far beyond what your telescopes can see. She explained, our system orbits, twin suns. The third planet is my home. Lumira, as Xelara spoke, her hair began to glow slightly, illuminating her face in the dimness of the bathroom. Zoe gasped at the sight. My people are bioluminescent. Xelara explained, it responds to our emotions. When we feel safe, we glow. Zoe made a simple meal of soup and sandwiches, watching in fascination as Xelara examined each item before cautiously tasting it. The alien seemed particularly delighted by the tomato soup, dipping her finger into it repeatedly and making soft, trilling sounds that Zoe realized must be expressions of pleasure. Our sustenance is mostly in liquid form, Xelara explained. This is similar to our nurturing broths, but yours has more texture, more variety of taste. It is pleasing, as they ate. Zoe asked, questions about Xelara and her world, learning that the Lumirians, as they called themselves, were a peaceful race of explorers and scientists. They had been observing Earth for centuries, cataloging its development and biodiversity while remaining hidden from human detection. We have strict protocols against interference, Xelara explained. We study, we observe, we learn, but we do not reveal ourselves. Your species is still young, still evolving, still violent in ways that concern the Galactic Council. What happened to your ship? Zoe asked. Why did you crash? Xelara lowered her spoon, her luminescence dimming slightly. We were monitoring a solar flare event when our cloaking systems malfunctioned. The radiation disrupted our shields. Our ship became visible to your military tracking systems. They fired upon us thinking we were a threat. Our vessel crashed in what you call the Rocky Mountains. I was separated from my crew during the impact. Zoe frowned. Do you know if the others survived? Xelara shook her head. I was unconscious when they found me. Your government agents, I awoke in their facility. They kept me sedated most of the time. I heard them discussing dissection analysis. They called me the specimen. She shuddered, her hair almost ceasing to glow entirely. I escaped 3 days ago when a power failure affected the security systems. How did you end up here? Zoe asked. We must be hundreds of miles from the Rockies. I have been moving only at night, hiding during daylight. Xelara explained. I sensed a beacon, a signal from this direction. I believed it might be from my people, a rescue beacon. But perhaps, she looked at Zoe curiously. Perhaps it was you? I sensed me. Zoe laughed. I'm just a normal woman. Nothing special. Xelara tilted her head. Some humans have latent telepathic abilities, though they rarely develop them. Your minds are capable of much more than you realize. You might have been broadcasting without knowing. Before Zoe could respond to this startling suggestion, they heard the sound of vehicles outside. Xelara stiffened, her eyes wide with fear. They have found me, she whispered. Zoe peeked through the blinds, seeing 2 black SUVs cruising slowly down the street. They paused briefly in front of her house before continuing. Onward, they're searching the neighborhood, Zoe said. We need to keep you hidden. They might come back with a search warrant or something worse. Zoe led Xelara to the spare bedroom, showing her the closet where she could hide if necessary. She gave the alien woman extra blankets and a pillow. You should be safe here, Zoe said. I'll make sure the blinds stay closed. You can rest. Thank you, Xelara said softly, her luminescence growing brighter again. I will never forget your kindness. Zoe Miller, that night. Zoe struggled to sleep. Her mind kept replaying the events of the day. The alien woman in her spare bedroom, the government agents searching, the glimpses of a universe far larger and more wondrous than she had ever imagined. Her ordinary life as a graphic designer working from home seemed distant, now replaced by something out of a science fiction movie. Around 3 a.m, Zoe heard a soft sound outside her bedroom door. She sat up, heart pounding, thinking the agents might have returned. She grabbed her phone ready to call for help when she noticed a gentle violet glow seeping under her door. Zoe Zalara's voice called softly. "Are you awake?" "Yes," Zoe replied, opening the door to find the alien woman sitting cross-legged on the hallway, her hair glowing softly in the darkness. "Is everything okay? I could not rest," Zalara explained. "My people do not require as much sleep as humans. When we do sleep, we prefer to be near those we trust for protection. It is our way. You can come in," Zoe offered, gesturing to the armchair in the corner of her bedroom. "You don't have to sit on the floor," Zalara shook her head. "No, I will guard your rest. It is our custom. When one saves a Lumerian life, we are bound to protect them. I will watch over you while you sleep." The notion should have felt strange, but somehow Zoe found it comforting. Having Zalara nearby made her feel safer, not more threatened. She nodded, understanding that this was important to the alien woman. "Okay," Zoe said, "but take a blanket at least." "The floor is hard." Zalara accepted the blanket with a grateful nod, wrapping it around her shoulders. Her luminescence created a soft nightlight effect in the hallway. Zoe returned to bed, leaving the door partially open so she could see the comforting glow. As Zoe drifted back to sleep, she wondered what tomorrow would bring. The government would not give up their search easily. She would need to find a way to keep Zalara safe, perhaps even help her contact her people. But for now, with an alien woman from the stars guarding her door, Zoe felt strangely at peace, as though the universe had suddenly opened up before her, revealing possibilities she had never dreamed existed. In the morning, Zoe would face the new reality of harboring an alien fugitive. But for now, she slept soundly under the watchful gaze of opalescent eyes. "They are coming," Zalara repeated, her eyes shining with a luminescence that matched her glowing hair. "They received my signal. They will send a rescue vessel," when Lily asked. The obvious question hanging in the air. Zalara looked upward, calculating. 3 of your Earth days, perhaps 4. The nearest mothership must navigate carefully to avoid detection by your defense systems. We should pack up and go," Zoe urged, glancing nervously toward the stairwell. Someone might have noticed. The light, Zalara nodded, disconnecting the components of their makeshift transmitter. As she worked, the door to the roof suddenly burst open. Zoe spun around, expecting campus security. Instead, she found herself staring at 2 men in dark suits. The same men from the convenience store. "There she is," one of them said into a radio. "She's on the roof of the Science Building East Campus with 2 human accomplices." "Run!" Zoe shouted, grabbing Zalara's arm, but there was nowhere to run. The men blocked the only exit. Lily stepped forward, bravely putting herself between Zalara and the agents. "This is a private research project," she declared, attempting to sound authoritative. "You have no right to be here. Step aside, miss," the taller agent said. His hand moved inside his jacket, producing what looked like a government ID. "Federal agents. We have authorization to detain that individual." He nodded toward Zalara. Zoe moved to stand beside Lily, forming a human barrier. "She's not an individual, she's a person," she snapped. "And you were torturing her." The second agent's expression hardened. "That's classified information," he said, "which means you're now involved in a national security breach. All of you need to come with us." As they spoke, Zoe noticed Zalara slowly backing toward the edge of the roof. The alien woman's eyes were fixed on the night sky, her hair beginning to glow more intensely. "We can do this the easy way or the hard way," the first agent said. His hand moved to his waist, where Zoe could see the outline of a weapon. "The hard way." Then a new voice said from behind them. Everyone turned. A figure stood at the far edge of the roof. Having somehow appeared without using the door, it was another Lumerian taller than Zalara, with darker blue skin and the same floating silver hair. The newcomer wore what appeared to be a fitted bodysuit that shimmered with an internal light. Zalara made a trilling sound of joy. "Tavik," she exclaimed. The agents reacted immediately, drawing their weapons. "Freeze," one shouted. The tall alien Tavik made a casual gesture with one hand. The agents' weapons flew from their grips, clattering across the rooftop. "I would advise against further aggression," Tavik said, his voice deep and melodious. We mean no harm, but we will protect our own. How did you get here so fast? Zalara asked, switching to English for the benefit of Zoe and Lily. The mothership cannot be here yet. A scout vessel was already in orbit monitoring the situation. Tavik explained, we detected your signal and I volunteered to make first contact. He turned his attention to the agents. Your government has violated numerous protocols by capturing and experimenting on a peaceful explorer. This incident will be reported to the Galactic Council. More agents are coming. The first man warned they're already on their way. Then we should depart, Tavik said. He looked at Zoe and Lily. You have helped our sister at great personal risk. We offer you sanctuary if you wish. Zoe stared at him. Sanctuary, you mean leave? Earth. Tavik nodded. The human authorities will identify you. They will consider you traitors or spies. They may imprison you, question you, or worse. Leave now. Zalara urged, moving to stand beside Tavik. Come with us. The agents are only the first wave. More will follow. Their superiors will not allow knowledge of our existence to spread. They will silence you to maintain their secrecy. Lily looked at Zoe, her expression torn between terror and excitement. I never thought first contact would end with me becoming a refugee, she said with a nervous laugh. What do we do? Before Zoe could respond, they heard footsteps pounding up the stairs. The reinforcements were arriving. Decide quickly, Tavik said. He raised his hand and a shimmering field of energy appeared around them, like a transparent bubble isolating them from the rest of the roof. Zoe looked at Zalara, at the agents struggling to reach their weapons at the door, where shadows of more government men were already visible. Through the translucent energy field, everything seemed distant, unreal. I'll go. She decided. I'll come with you. She looked at Lily. What about you? Lily hesitated only briefly. Hell yes, she said with sudden determination. I've spent my whole life studying the stars. I'm not missing the chance to see them up close. Just then the roof door burst open again. 6 more agents spilled onto the roof, weapons drawn. They shouted orders that sounded muffled through the energy field. Tavik raised both hands now. A soft humming filled the air. The energy field around them brightened. Hold on to each other, he instructed. Form physical contact. Zoe grabbed Zalara's hand, feeling its cool smoothness. Lily clutched her other hand. The 2 agents trapped within their bubble backed away, fear evident on their faces. What's happening? One demanded. Molecular transportation. Tavik explained calmly. You will not be harmed, but you will be temporarily displaced. We cannot allow you to follow us. The humming grew louder. The light from the bubble intensified until Zoe had to close her eyes against its brightness. She felt a strange sensation, like her body was becoming lighter, insubstantial. The solid roof beneath her feet seemed to fade away. Then suddenly the sensation stopped. The brightness dimmed behind. Her closed eyelids, Zoe opened her eyes and gasped. They were no longer on the roof. Instead, they stood in what appeared to be a small chamber with curved walls that glowed with a soft blue light. The 2 government agents were collapsed on the floor, unconscious but breathing. Where are we? She asked, her voice sounding strange in the enclosed space scout vessel. Tavik replied, This is our transport module. The agents will be returned to the roof once we reach a safe distance. Their memories of the transportation will be confused. They will be unharmed. Lily was turning in circles, her eyes wide with wonder, taking in every detail of the alien craft. We're in a spaceship, she whispered. An actual alien spaceship? Indeed, Tavik said with what might have been amusement. We will rendezvous with the mothership in approximately 12 of your hours. Until then, you are welcome to rest. Observe and ask questions. He gestured, and a section of the wall slid open, revealing a larger chamber beyond as they moved into the main section of the scout vessel. Zoe was struck by how different it was from human spacecraft as depicted in movies and television. No hard angles or exposed machinery. Instead, everything was smooth, organic, flowing curves of what appeared to be living material. The walls pulsed gently with light responding to their presence. The floor yielded slightly beneath their feet, like walking on firm moss. "It's beautiful," Zoe said. Xalara smiled, watching her reaction. "Our technology is biologically based," she explained. "The vessel is partially alive. It responds to our needs, maintains its own systems. This craft is small, a personal transport only. The mothership is much larger. How many of your people are on the mothership?" Lily asked, her scientific curiosity overcoming her awe. "Approximately 200, Tavik answered. "We are a research expedition cataloging life in this sector of the galaxy. Earth is one of 17 inhabited planets we monitor." As they spoke, the wall before them suddenly became transparent, revealing a view that made both humans gasp. They were already above the Earth's atmosphere, the curve of the planet visible below them. City lights sparkled across the dark side. Stars shone with perfect clarity above. "Oh my God," Lily whispered, pressing her hands against the view screen. "We're in space. I'm actually in space." While Lily continued to marvel at the view, Zoe turned to Xalara. "Do you regret it?" she asked quietly. "Being stranded on Earth. All those weeks, in captivity." Xalara considered the question thoughtfully. "I regret the pain, the fear," she admitted, "but not the experience itself. Not meeting you." She reached out, touching Zoe's hand gently. "You saved me. You showed me kindness when I had known only cruelty from your kind. You are Cavalith now, soul sister. That bond transcends the suffering that brought us together." Zoe felt tears prick her eyes. The reality of what was happening finally hitting her. "I left everything behind," she realized. "My home, my job, my life. You gained a universe," Xalara said softly. "Is that not a fair exchange?" Tavik approached them. "We should let our guests rest," he suggested to Xalara. "The molecular transportation can be disorienting for species unaccustomed to it. They will need time to adjust." Xalara nodded, leading Zoe and Lily to what appeared to be resting chambers, cushioned recesses in the walls that adjusted to perfectly fit their bodies as they lay down. "Rest now," Xalara said. "We will wake you as we approach the mothership." Despite the extraordinary circumstances, exhaustion quickly overcame Zoe. The events of the past few days, the tension, the fear, the wonder, all crashed over her as the gentle humming of the alien vessel lulled her to sleep. Her last conscious thought was of Xalara's words. "You gained a universe." Zoe awoke to Xalara gently touching her shoulder. "We are approaching the mothership," she said. Zoe sat up, feeling surprisingly refreshed. The resting chamber had somehow revitalized her body, better than any bed she'd ever slept in. Lily was already awake, standing by the view screen, her face illuminated by the sight before them. "Look." Lily breathed. Zoe joined her at the window and felt her breath catch. The mothership hung in space against the backdrop of stars. It was enormous, dwarfing their small scout vessel. Its design reminded Zoe of a massive jellyfish trailing tendrils of light. Beautiful and alien, yet somehow organic and natural. Days aboard the Australis passed in a blur of discovery and adaptation. Zoe and Lily immersed themselves in Lemurian culture, learning the basics of their language, studying their technology, trying their food. Each day brought new wonders, new concepts, new perspectives on the universe. Lily thrived in this environment, her astronomical knowledge making her a valuable exchange of information with the Lemurian scientists. She spent hours in their observation deck, marveling at stars and planets visible, with a clarity impossible from Earth. Sometimes Zoe would find her deep in conversation with Lemurian astronomers, comparing notes, drawing star maps, exchanging theories. Zoe found her own niche more gradually. Her skills as a graphic designer translated surprisingly well to Lemurian visual arts. Their aesthetic was different, but the principles of balance, harmony, and communication through images remained the same. She began learning their design systems, helping to create visual representations of Earth culture to add to the Lemurian archive. Xalara remained their constant companion, guide, and protector. True to her word, She no longer slept outside Zoe's door, but she maintained the vigilance of Cavaleth, always ensuring their needs were met, their questions answered, their safety guaranteed. As fascinating as life aboard the Australis was, it was not without challenges. The artificial gravity, while comfortable, was slightly less than Earth's, requiring adjustment. The food, while nutritionally adapted for humans, lacked the variety and flavors they were accustomed to. The concept of privacy differed, as Lemurians were partially telepathic and shared thoughts and emotions more freely than humans. Perhaps most significantly was the sense of displacement. The sudden severance from everything familiar. Zoe sometimes found herself awake during the ship's night cycle, staring at unfamiliar stars, thinking of her small house, her friends, her morning coffee routine, simple things now lost. To her, she never spoke of these moments of homesickness, not wanting to seem ungrateful, but sometimes Zalara would find her during these episodes, quietly sitting beside her, offering silent companionship, as if sensing her melancholy. One such night, about 3 weeks into their stay, Zalara brought Zoe to a section of the ship she had not yet seen. "This is the memory garden," Zalara explained as they entered a vast chamber filled with what appeared to be luminescent plants and flowing water. "Here, we come to process grief, to remember those lost, to reconnect with our past." The plants responded to their presence, glowing more intensely as they passed. Some seemed to sing soft, melodious tones that changed with proximity. Others released gentle aromas reminiscent of earth flowers, but with subtle alien differences. "You miss your world," Zalara said. It was not a question. Zoe nodded. At times she admitted, "It's not that I regret coming, I don't. But there are things, people, places, small comforts I never thought I'd miss until they were gone." Zalara led her to a small pool at the center of the garden. The water shimmered with bioluminescence, reflecting their faces as they gazed into it. "Touch the water," Zalara instructed. Zoe did so. The surface rippled beneath her fingers. Then, to her astonishment, the ripples formed into an image. Her house viewed from the street exactly as she remembered it. The image shifted, showing her living room, her kitchen, her backyard, each detail perfect, as if she were looking through a window rather than at a reflection. How, Zoe gasped. "The water connects to your memories," Zalara explained. "It is a tool for processing separation, for honoring what is lost while embracing what is gained." The images continued shifting, showing Zoe's office, her favorite coffee shop, the park where she liked to sketch on weekends. Tears welled in her eyes at the familiar sights. "We all leave things behind," Zalara said softly. "Even I. My family, my home, they are light years away. I may not see them for many cycles. You're homesick too." Zoe realized, looking at her alien friend. Zalara smiled gently. "We have a saying. The stars are many, but the heart remains one. Though we travel far, our connections remain." This, she gestured to the water. "The images of Earth is not to increase your sorrow, but to acknowledge it, to honor what you sacrificed." Zoe watched as the water showed one final image, herself and Zalara, that first night when she had found the alien woman huddled behind her tool. She had the moment that had changed everything. "Thank you," Zoe said, the knot of homesickness in her chest loosening somewhat. "I needed this." They stayed in the memory garden for hours, talking, Zalara sharing stories of her homeworld, Zoe describing Earth, childhood's the wonders of human imagination. When they finally returned to their quarters, Zoe felt lighter, more at peace with her decision than she had since arriving. The next morning, Tavik summoned them to the ship's command center, a circular chamber, with view screens showing all directions around the vessel. The Elder Council was already present, looking grave. "There is a situation," Ilara explained. "The Earth government has increased its search efforts. They have deployed advanced tracking technology, attempting to locate our vessel." "They can detect us?" Lily asked, alarmed. "Not directly," Tavik said, "but they are scanning for the specific energy signature of Lemurian biology. They know Zalara is no longer on Earth. They suspect she has been rescued. They are searching for any trace on the view screen. They could see Earth beautiful and blue against the blackness of space. Several satellites were highlighted, their paths tracked by the ship's systems. These new satellites carry detection technology, Alara continued, based on samples they took from Zalara during her captivity. They cannot penetrate our cloaking entirely, but prolonged exposure risks discovery. What does this mean? Zoe asked. We must leave Earth orbit. Tavik said, the risk of detection grows. Too great. We have gathered sufficient research data for this expedition. It is time to move to our next observation point. Leave, Lily repeated. But I thought we would stay near Earth at least for a while. The Council has decided, Ilara said firmly. The safety of the Astralis and its crew must take priority. We depart in 2 cycles. They were dismissed shortly after the announcement, walking back to their quarters in stunned silence. I never considered we might travel beyond the solar system. Lily finally said, I assumed we'd remain near Earth studying it. From orbit, Zoe felt a fresh wave of displacement, the final connection to home about to be severed. Where will we go, she asked. Zalara. The Centauri system first, Zalara explained. Then outward, to the Pleiadian colonies. Our research mission will continue in those sectors for approximately 3 of your Earth years. 3 years, Zoe whispered. Lily's scientific enthusiasm quickly overcame her shock. We'll be the first humans to see another star system up close, she realized. The first to travel beyond our solar system. While Lily excitedly contemplated the scientific opportunities ahead, Zoe found herself returning to the memory garden that evening, seeking the comfort of its reflecting pool. But this time when she touched the water, no images appeared. Your heart is troubled. Ilara's voice came from behind her. The elder scientist had entered silently. The water responds to clarity of emotion. When you are conflicted, it cannot form coherent images. I didn't expect to go so far. Zoe admitted, I knew I was leaving Earth, but somehow I thought I would still be able to see it, to know it was there. Ilara sat beside her at the pool's edge. You fear true separation, she observed. Zoe nodded. Have discussed your situation. The elder said, the Council and I. We recognize the sacrifice you made to save Zalara. We would offer you a choice. A choice, Zoe repeated. To stay or to go, Ilara explained. We can arrange transport back to Earth before we depart the system. A small scout vessel can return you discreetly to a location of your choosing. Go back. Zoe felt a surge of conflicting emotions at the possibility. It would not be without risk, Ilara cautioned. Your government still searches for those who helped Zalara escape. But we could provide you with resources to establish a new identity in a different region. Documents technology. A modest supply of convertible resources. Zoe stared into the still waters of the pool, trying to process this unexpected option. Return to Earth. To familiar gravity seasons reign. To human faces, voices, laughter. But also, to hiding, to fear of discovery, to a life of looking over her shoulder. And Lily, Zoe asked, would she have the same choice? Of course, Ilara said, though our scientists believe she will choose to continue onward. Her fascination with the cosmos is evident to all. And Zalara. Zoe's voice grew quiet. What about our Kavaleth bond? The elder's expression softened. Such bonds transcend physical distance, she said gently. Zalara would understand whatever choice you make. The bond remains across light years, across lifetimes. Zoe nodded, thanking Ilara for the information. The elder left her alone with her thoughts by the pool. Zoe sat there for hours, her mind turning over the possibilities. The comfort of the familiar against the wonder of the unknown. The safety of Earth against the marvels of distant stars. When she finally returned to her quarters, she found Zalara waiting. An expression of concern on her alien features. You spoke with Ilara. Zalara said, you know about the choice they offered. Zoe realized. Zalara nodded. I requested it. She admitted, I saw your sorrow. I heard your longing for Earth in your sleep. Though it would pain me to part ways, I could not bear to think I had taken you unwillingly from your home. Zoe studied her friend, the being she had rescued, who had in turn rescued her in ways she was only beginning to understand. I've made my decision. Zoe said. Zalara waited, her opalescent eyes unreadable,